Hey, I'm Liv, welcome back to my channel Endless Pages, and welcome to today's video, which is a book haul. Hi, so if you can believe, this is the first book haul I have filmed this year, which sounds absolutely crazy to say. I feel like you guys might think I'm just lying to not only you but myself, but I feel like this year my book spending has been a little bit more under control and less reckless. You might disagree with me after watching this video, but yeah, I just feel like it's been a little bit more under control and like rational. That's probably not the right word, but yeah, not as crazy as previous years, so I haven't really had to film heaps of hauls, but it has built up a little bit, so I thought it was about time I let you know what books I have brought this year. A little bit less crazy than previous years. Of course, I'm not showing you like the ebooks, e-audio books I purchased, Kindle books I purchased as well, but yeah, I thought I would film a haul and show you what books I have bought this year. First up, Gabriel by Garth and Nix. So earlier this year I went to the Sydney Writers Festival where Garth Nix was on a fantasy panel with Samantha Shannon and Shelley Parker Chan that I got to see. I only got to go to one of the Sydney Writers Festival talks, panels, which sucked, because I wanted to go to more, but they're all during the middle of the day of a work week, like in a work day, so I wasn't really able to go to more, but that's okay. I got to a fantasy one. It was really cool. I saw Garth Nix speak on it, and I was just thinking in my head the whole time, like, why have I never read a Garth Nix book? I think I bought his other book, The Left-Handed Bookseller, ages ago, but I've never read a Garth Nix book. And as an Australian and a fantasy lover, I feel like it is my duty to read this book. And he was talking about it on the panel, and it sounds great. So this is about Sabriel, who has kind of managed to live her life avoiding this place called the Old Kingdom, where there is this kind of free magic. But then she kind of doesn't have a choice but has to go and face it when her father, who's a mage, goes missing. Garth Nix was talking about on the panel that they were talking about diversity and stuff in their books and female representation, probably more female representation at the time in their books. And the panel were just talking about, you know, their obvious choices to make their books diverse. And Garth Nix was just upfront and honest and like, hey, like, listen, it wasn't a purposeful choice. I wish it was, to make my main character of my book female, because this was written in like the 90s, I think, and at the time the kind of trope of the hero, the chosen one, was usually a male character. So he was upfront and honest about it. It was really funny. He's like, it wasn't a purposeful choice. I was going to write about her father, a mage, but Sabriel was more interesting to write about. So yeah, she has to go looking for her dad and then kind of face her extraordinary destiny. So I got this signed by Garth Nix, and he was really lovely, and it was such a cool panel. And yeah, it's my duty to read this book at some point. Next up, I got Brandy Sandy. So we got The Hero of Ages, which is the third and final book in the original Mistborn trilogy. I'm currently reading this. I started it last night, and yep, I'm terrified. This book is going to break me, I fear. And then I got the next book along, which is part of the Mistborn series, but like I think they're just kind of own individual stories set in the Mistborn world. Quote me if tell me if I'm wrong, but yeah. This one, the first one, being The Alloy of Law. I'm trying very carefully not to look at the blurb because spoilers. But yes, I got those two. And then I also got another Brandy Sandy. This is Skyward, the first in this Skyward series. I know people have opinions, very strong opinions, on the order that you should read Brandy Sandy's books in, but I don't care. I'm going to read them whatever order I want to read. Obviously the series in order, but I really want to read his science fiction next. I've been in a science fiction mood. So this one is the story of the world has been attacked for like hundreds of years, by this alien race called the Krell, who are like dead set on wiping out humanity. And then humanity's only hope are these pilots that take to the skies to fight the Krell, and our main character has always wanted to be a pilot. Didn't look like it was going to happen, and then the Krell kind of like increased their attacks, so they were desperate to get more pilots, and she might have the opportunity to fight the Krell. Yeah. Next up, I got The Principle of Moments by Esme Jimmicky Pearson. Look at this cover. Like, it's bloody stunning. This I picked up first because I saw the cover and was like, oh, that looks amazing. And then when I realized this is a space opera, it was just like an auto buy for me. This sounds really good. I'm gonna have to read the blurb because there's so much to remember. It sounds big and a bit complicated. So we jump from 6066 to 1812, but in 6066, in Emperor Thracian's brave new galaxy, humans are not citizens but indentured labourers working to repay the debts they unwittingly incurred when they settled on the planet Garan. Garan is a desert planet already owned by the Emperor himself. We have Asha, who knows she's just another voiceless cog working the assembly lines that fuel his vast imperial war machine. Her only rebellion, studying stolen aeronautics manuals in the dead of night. But then a cloaked stranger arrives to deliver an impossible message, and her life changes in an instant. Then in 1812 we follow Obi, who is done with time travelling, never mind the fact that he doesn't know how to cure himself of the temporal sickness he caught while anchoring his soul to Regency London. The one that unmakes him further with every jump. Or if the prince he loves will ever love him back. Or why his father disappeared. He is done, until he hears about the ghost of a girl in a British museum, a girl from another time. When Obi's path tangles with Aisha's, a prophecy awakens in the cold darkness of space. They must voyage through the stars, racing against time, tyranny, and the legacy of three heroes from an ancient religion who may be awakening, reincarnated in ways beyond comprehension. So, this sounds like absolutely freaking incredible. Apparently it's compared to, or for fans of Becky Chambers, fans who love V.E. Schwab, and fans who love N.K. Jemisin as well. I'm a bit intimidated by this, to be honest, but it sounds like just what I want at the moment, just a fun space opera. So I hope I love this. Next up, I got some manga. This is Kaiju number 8. I've gotten volume 1, 2, and 3. I discovered this manga because of TikTok. They just started the anime of this and I kept seeing TikTok edits. I'll be upfront and honest. I saw TikTok edits of this character and I was like, who is he? What is this show? I need to know. But it is genuinely really up my alley, the show, despite, yeah, other than the fact that he's in it, but whatever. Yeah, so I started watching the anime because I saw TikTok edits and then I stopped and I was like, no, this has just started. I can catch up. Let's read the mangas first. So I got the mangas. This is set in Japan. Obviously, we follow our main character who is, well, when he was younger, he wanted to be, no, let me restart. There's these monsters called kaiju, and then they are these huge, scary monsters that kind of kill and eat people, destroy the town, blah blah blah. And then there's these kind of like elite fighters who fight in squads to kill the kaiju. Our main character, when he was younger, really wanted to be one of these like fighters, but you follow him now. I think he's meant to be in his like 30s kind of, and he's currently part of a cleanup crew, and their job is to go and clean up after a kaiju battle, chop the kaiju up, clear away the destruction, the burst flesh of the kaiju, blah blah blah. So he's not really quite where he wanted to be in his life. And one day he's at a cleanup and he stays late, and then this kaiju kind of appears. He gets saved, and then in the hospital this little kaiju that looks like a little fly thing just like goes in his mouth, and he turns into like a part human, part kaiju. And now that he kind of has added strength and stuff, he decides to go for the exam to become one of the kaiju hunters. Anyway, that's a really long description of the plot, but it is really good. It is genuinely hilarious. I love the humor in this, and it's also really fun. Like, the fight scenes are really cool. It's got a cool cast of characters. Like, all of the supporting side characters are really interesting, and I feel like as we go along we'll get so much more depth about all of them, which is cool as well. So well developed side characters, and it is genuinely really fun and really funny. So I have read only volume 1, but I will read these soon because they're really, really good. Next up, I got Safe Haven. This is an Australian author. So I met her earlier this year. It was so cool at one of our other library branches. She did an author talk and I got to go. I was only like $5. No, it was $10 to see her. It was so cool. So I went and it was an incredible night. She is an incredibly intelligent human being. She is like a human rights like lawyer, activist, as well as an author. So she is an incredibly intelligent woman. And I went to this author talk. Well, it was a kind of an author talk about Safe Haven, her latest book, but I went because earlier this year I read her other book, Chai Time at Cinnamon Gardens, and one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Holy shit. So I had to pick up her other book, and she signed both Chai Time and this book. She's really lovely. She is such an incredibly intelligent woman and an amazing author. So this is her latest book about refugees. This is about asylum seekers. Finna, who dedicates herself to aiding the refugees who are held in Port Camden, a remote island outpost. Over time, she settles into a life within the community of like-minded people, finding a new family far from her original home. After she speaks out for those being detained, Finna becomes the focus of a media storm that leads to her arrest and the threat of deportation. When a security officer dies under suspicious circumstances, Lucky, a special investigator, arrives to uncover the truth. The mystery is tied to Finna's fate, and the secrets she revealed will divide the town and the nation. So it says, Safe Haven is about displacement and seeking refuge, but ultimately is a story about finding home and the lengths you'll go to find safety and love. I feel like this will be an incredibly hard and moving book. I think her books are really important for white Australians to read, and I was incredibly moved by the story in Chai Time, and I feel like this will be incredibly moving as well. Next up, I got Neon Gods by Katy Robert. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. It was a very spur of the moment purchase, and I was like, I'm in the mood for something smutty, and we can always do with more smut in our life. So I hope I'm going to find this fun. I hope it's not too dark romance that I'm like not enjoying it, but this is basically a Hades and Persephone retelling, but just add smut. Basically, Persephone is hoping to like flee the kind of city that she lives in, but then her mother kind of ambushes her with a engagement to Zeus, and she's desperate, so she goes and makes a deal with Hades. And yeah, Hades like likes the sound of the deal because it'll offer him revenge that he has been waiting for a long time to get. So yeah, they make a deal, and then I think they fall in love. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this, but I'm willing to give it a fun go. I'm willing to give it a go because I think it'll be fun. Yeah. Next up, I got Threads That Cut. This is a sequel to Threads That Bind by Kika Hatsupulo. Sequel to Threads That Bind. This book is basically about this girl called Io. She's descended from fates. She can see like people's fate lines. And, like when they cut, it means the life is done. A murder happens in her town, and she starts to work with this gang member called Edie, I think his name was. I can't remember. Yeah, Edie. And they just work together to solve this murder, but more things are happening than they thought. There's a bigger thing happening. So yeah, I got the sequel. I really enjoyed the first one and can't wait to see where this one goes. I have a feeling this one might be a little bit darker than this one, so yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Next up, I got these two books, Dark Rise and Dark Air, book 1 and book 2 in C.S. Beckett, an Australian author. C.S. Beckett's series, the Dark Rise series. I read Dark Rise, I want to say last year, but I read a library copy, so I wanted my own copy. This is this world where centuries ago there used to be this kind of battle between the light and the dark. The only one that really remembers these battles is this group called the Stewards, and it's their job to stay sharp and protect humanity if the Dark Knight, Dark King ever returns. And then you have our main character, Will, in London, who is running from 16, I think? 16. And is running from the people that killed his mother. He then comes across this person that says, go find the stewards and join the Battle of the Light. The Dark King is going to return. So that is kind of a really basic plot of this book. I loved what I'm thinking is like the love dynamic. It's tagged as LGBTQIA+, so I feel like it was these two characters that they're alluding to, kind of, but that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I love these two male characters' dynamic. it's really great to read. And I was completely blown away by all of the plot twists in this book. Like, I didn't see any of that coming, and the ending of this book was just fucking fantastic. Like, I still think about it to this day, and I read it last year. It's just like such an impact on me. I just loved it so much. The world building, incredible. I'm just so excited to read Dark Air, but I definitely will do a reread of Dark Rise to be able to fully appreciate Dark Air. But yeah, so freaking good. Next up, we have Cassandra Clare's new series, her first adult series, I believe, Swordcatcher, the first in the new series. Please forgive me if I've already talked about this in a haul. I couldn't remember if I had or not. I couldn't find it in my last couple of hauls, but I can't remember when I purchased this, if it was this year or last year, so whatever. But the blurb is, one was raised to rule and one was trained to die. In the vibrant city of Castellane, Kel is an orphan, stolen from his impoverished old life to enter a new one of luxury and peril. He's to become Prince Connor's body double to shield the prince from all dangers. As his sword catcher, he and Connor will become as close as brothers, yet Kel lives for one purpose, to die for Connor. We follow Lynn, who is a physician, part of a community ostracized for its rare magical abilities. But a failed assassination attempt pulls her and Kel together and into a web of the mysterious Ragpicker King who rules Castellane's criminal underworld. Together they'll discover an extraordinary conspiracy. But can forbidden love bring down a kingdom? And will their discoveries plunge their nation into war and the world into chaos? So this is the first book in the Chronicles of Castellane series. I am very curious to see what I think about this. Obviously, I love Cassandra Clare. I know her writing's not good, but I love it. So I'm excited to see this because it's her first adult debut, and it's blurred by George R.R. Martin. And he said, everything I look for in a fantasy. I'm also intimidated by this just purely because of the size, and starting a new fantasy is always intimidating. Next up, I purchased The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell. I want to own every single one of the books that she has ever written, to be honest. So this is about a teenage mum called Tallulah who never comes home from a night out. Tallulah's mum, who's looking after Tallulah's baby, awakes at like 3-4 in the morning and notices she's gone and she never comes back. We then jump ahead a couple of years to 2018, where this woman called Sophie, her boyfriend has started teaching at this school, and she's walking in the woods and finds a sign nailed to a fence that says dig here. So I think it will be connected to Tallulah's disappearance. Yeah, I love Lisa Jewell and I need to read everything she has ever published. Next up, I purchased Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rohich. I will preface this by saying I probably should have read this on Kindle before I purchased it. I'm going to Babe next year, which is a Books and Ball Gowns event happening in Sydney, and I purchased this after realising that most of the Babe authors are on Kindle Unlimited, but that's okay. I think I purchased this on a day where I was having a shit day and I just wanted to buy a book. So this is Lady of Darkness, book 1, Lady of Darkness. This is about Scarlet, who's owned by a ruthless assassin lord. Scarlet and her two sisters are the most feared trio on the continent. They are wild and unpredictable until a tragic night finds Scarlet locked away in a noble household until she's ready to fall in line. She's presented with a job. If she completes the assignment, her payment will be something she has coveted for 10 years, revenge against the Fae Fire Prince who brutally killed her mother years ago. But when children begin disappearing from her home, all the plans are put on hold as she races to save them, with the help of old friends, a jilted lover, and a mysterious newcomer who claims the magic of the Fae is possible in mortal lands. She delves into the darkest corners of the world, forgotten secrets to come to light, and she discovers the darkness extends far from her own kingdom. So this is obviously a Fae story. It sounds good. I'm a bit nervous. This will be my first Babe author read, and I hope I like it. Next up, to finish off the haul, I want to tell you about 2 books that were gifted to me. I just want to say thank you again so much. This was so incredibly thoughtful of both of you, and they were both sent to me purposely in times where I was like not having fun this year at all, having a real rough time. So I cannot describe the joy these brought to me, seeing them on the doorstep when I was just having these shit times this year. So it was just so lovely and thoughtful, and yeah, so bloody sweet. So thank you again, both of you. So lovely. This one is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. This I put on my wish list because I saw Katy from Sitting Katy reading it in one of her vlogs. I was like, oh, I'm so intrigued by this, and also the cover is sick. Anyway, this is about these 5 people that I think one day they put up their hands, no, they see their bedroom mirrors shining and they put their palms on the surface. They're pulled into this castle. They all live in this neighborhood in Tokyo, by the way. And they're pulled into this castle where they kind of meet each other, and then this mysterious taskmaster who is called the Wolf Queen. And they all have one thing in common, but they don't know it yet. Each day they must leave by 5 o'clock or face a terrifying penalty. They must all hunt for a key that will grant them only one wish. They must tell no one about their experience, and they're all really eager to uncover the secrets of the castle. As they struggle to abide by the rules of the game and each other's emotional boundaries, a moving story unfolds of 7 characters trapped in a cycle of misunderstanding and loneliness, who are ultimately set free by the power of friendship, empathy, and sacrifice. And then the other book that I was obviously showing before is Solitaire by Alice Oseman, and this was gifted to me kindly by the lovely Sash from Sash Reads, so thank you again, Sash. Yeah, this is set in the Heartstopper kind of universe, but this one is Tori Spring's story, who is Charlie's sister. So I've always been curious to learn more about her characters, because when I watch Heartstopper and read Heartstopper, I don't have the context behind Tori, so I'd love to get to know their character a lot better. And I want to read all of Alice Oseman's books. So thank you again so much to Sash and Erin for gifting me these 2 books. They're both pink, by the way, which I just realised as well. So this was so thoughtful. That this haul is done, you probably are thinking you are delusional and thinking that your bookish spending has slowed down. So let me know in the comments below, have you read anything I hauled this year? What do you think I should prioritise? Do you have any opinions on the books that I hauled? Or what is a book that you hauled recently? Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you would like to see more of my content. It would be very much appreciated. And I will see you in whatever the hell I post next. Bye!